Not again, my mom sighed. What did she tell you? Was it the one about the circus? I've told her that story's not funny, and why isn't she in class? Mrs. Howard pointed at her notes. She has a learning disability? No, she doesn't. Hattie tests off the charts, Mom said. And she's not an orphan. I don't know why she tells people that. Mrs. Howard's eyes were so big they were practically down in her cleavage. I worried she might never recover. I'm a compulsive liar, I said around the lollipop. No, you're not. My mom's shoulders slumped as she turned back to Mrs. Howard. She's just having a difficult adjustment period. We moved from New Jersey this summer, and starting at a new school as a junior has its challenges. The only silver lining had been this new counselor, who I planned to regale with tales of woe for at least a year before she caught on to the fact that I was a middle-class kid with a functional mother and no interesting backstory whatsoever. But, as always, my mom was the one person I couldn't fool. Compulsive lying is a trait usually associated with sociopathy or narcissistic personality disorder, I told Mrs. Howard. Mrs. Howard shuddered. Oh my. My mom's nostrils flared. Hattie has not been diagnosed with either of those conditions. She also hasn't been diagnosed as a compulsive liar. There's nothing wrong with her. Her eyes scanned my face while she talked. I crumpled the pink slip in my hand. I'd been so close to getting out. Sure, out on the streets of Marsh Rock, there was only humidity and strip malls populated by the terrifying kind of people who insisted on saying hi to strangers, but anything was better than the asylum white walls of St. Crotch. I should have just gone with my first instinct and sweet-talked the receptionist until he was distracted enough for me to grab a pink slip and forge my mom's signature. I thought performing for Mrs. Howard would be more entertaining. Amateur mistake. I can't believe it. Mrs. Howard's lip quivered. It's not your fault, I said quickly. Mrs. Howard was just trying to do her job. She shouldn't cry because of a screw-up like me. I'm usually able to get a pink slip in 8 minutes flat. You lasted 15. She sniffled. Really? Did you take the pad? My mom asked. What pad? I said automatically. My mom held out her hand and I reluctantly gave her my backpack. She opened the front pocket and produced the pad of pink slips I'd snatched from Mrs. Howard's desk when she knocked her papers over. Sorry about that, she said and handed Mrs. Howard the pad. Hattie's a good kid. You'll see.